A celebration of football today on what we hope is your favorite sports talk radio program. Welcome back, Idaho Sports Talk. Prater and the Ball Game. Our fifth football season together. Week one has already kicked off on the Big Ten Network. A bunch of other games are beginning right now, Prater, and we do this every year, a couple days before Boise State plays its first game. And we ask our listeners for their one bold prediction. And if you're worried about the word bold, just look it up and then base what you're going to tell us on the boldness of your prediction. One bold prediction. 208-424-9300. I'd like to welcome on our video audience courtesy of the Dollar Loan Center at don'tbebroke.com. We are videoing and audioing this segment, or audio and video both. You can see us in Prater. Holy smokes, man. Boise State, one bold prediction. We actually cheated a little bit. We have a bold prediction that's positive, and we have a bold prediction not so much. Let's just say it. It's negative.
Yeah, we got one on each side. And we'll save, I don't know which one we're going to go first. I'll let you drive this segment, and we'll figure that out. But, in the interest of fairness, because you know me, my dark mind goes right to the negative, and I didn't want to do that because there is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful offseason and a beautiful season in front of Boise State right now. And I know everybody's fired up. I'm excited. Everybody's excited. And 2:00 on Saturday, it's going to happen. So let's, but the reality is that, nothing is perfect, even though Boise State had damn near the most perfect offseason I've ever seen in the history of college football.
Yep.
I keep waiting for something to happen, but that's just how my mind works. And hopefully this perfection continues all the way up until the end of December.
All right, line them up, 208-424-9300 if you want to get in on this. We're going to keep the Double Tap Pub hotline open, JP, 20, 25 minutes. So get people, they can get in if they want. One bold prediction about this Boise State football season. What's going to happen? We're keeping track of these, and who knows, maybe we'll dig up a prize for you at 5:15. All right, Prater. I'll drive. We're going to start with the negative, okay? I mean, a bold prediction that's not going to turn out the way maybe Bronco Nation wants it to. And if people want to text theirs, they can do that as well. But let's start there. Where do you want to roll? Where are you going?
Are you throwing me under the bus first with Prater and a negative prediction?
Your dirty, nasty mind. Everybody wants to hear what Prater's negative, bold prediction is. This is, if you turn this into a column, man, there'd be 10,000 readers on this. 208-424-9300. Call. Give us your bold prediction. What's Prater's?
I did just write a column at Bronco Nation News about how the fans aren't trusting the office of the Boise State football coach right now. So getting a little beat up on that one for the negative side. So I'll dive deeper into the darker negative side. And I put some serious thought in this, and I believe in this one, guys. And I don't want to believe in it. And I'm going to take you back to early in the offseason, maybe February, recruiting time, April, spring camp, whenever. Ballgame and I said over and over and over again, as did everybody, Boise State's offensive line should be a strength because 4 of 5 starters are returning. And that's true. That is very true. The only real issue that they had to figure out was the right tackle, Hall Schmidt, not Hal. Hall Schmidt, 6'7", 308. Hall Schmidt is your right tackle, and I think he's pretty locked in there. Cage Casey's on your left side. Here's where I get a little bit worried. Based on watching camp, talking to coaches, putting the pieces together, I'm worried that the interior of the offensive line, and this isn't abnormal. Anybody that follows football knows this. The offensive line, you're not going to go through a football season with 5 offensive linemen. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, however many it takes. I worry a little bit about the health and the production and the availability of the interior of the offensive line. Boise State did a fantastic job in fall camp of mixing and matching at left guard, mixing and matching at right guard, mixing and matching at center. I tried to keep track of the offensive line almost every single day when Ballgame and I went to practice, and they were always constantly mixing it up, which is good. I was confused a lot because why is he there today? Why wasn't he there yesterday? Why is he here today? And Boise State did a beautiful job. So I think that they've done a really nice job of building depth behind Ben Dooley, behind Mason Randolph, behind Roger Carrion, who on the depth chart that was released this morning is listed at number 1. But behind him is Tyler Kyneth, Jason Steele, Nathan Cardona, and we frankly saw a whole bunch of other players get second, third, and maybe even in some cases first team reps. So I think they can go 3 deep, but it's a little bit unproven. Here's my bold prediction. I think the offensive line is not going to live up to its reputation this year. I'm not saying it's going to be bad. I just think we went into the season thinking the offensive line was going to be a strength of this team. Wide receiver is going to be a strength. Running back is going to be a strength. We'll see how quarterback plays out. I'm a little bit worried about the offensive line. So the production there, the availability, and the interior part of the offensive line, I think will be a major factor when and if Ashton Jeanty doesn't get 2,000 rushing yards this season.
One bold prediction. 208-424-9300. Line them up, JP. Call that number. One bold prediction. We're keeping track on this. Who's going to hit at the end of the year? We do this every year, kind of before, a couple days before game time. I like that, Prater. I think you're going to like mine too. This is my negative prediction on this team this year. Last year, Boise State had 36 sacks as a team, 12.5 by Ahmed. My prediction is they will have less than 36 sacks this year. They're not going to pressure the quarterback the way maybe they will need to certain times, or certainly the way I think people are expecting them to. Now, Ahmed's 12.5 is the last thing I'm worried about on the defensive line. I expect Ahmed to have 10 plus sacks, but it's the rest, Prater. First off, the interior, nose tackle, 3 technique, the 2 D tackles, okay? Herbert Gums last year had a half a sack, 0.5. Sheldon Newton didn't have a sack, 0. Michael Callahan had 1 sack, and Braxton Feely had 3. So the 4 rotational D tackles collectively had 4.5 sacks last year. I don't know where all these sacks are going to come from. Oh, well, ball game, shut up, you idiot. JVM, Jaden Virgin Morgan, are you kidding me? He didn't have a sack last year. Not one. The returning sack outside of Ahmed is a major problem. Now, you might be able to pressure with Simpson. I hope you can. I think they need to, because I think they're going to need to manufacture some sort of a pass rush, because I don't trust this defense being able to get to the quarterback with 4. With Gums, Newton, Feely, and Ahmed to get sacks. Man, I'm not seeing it. 36 sacks last year, and I was thinking this whole summer, oh, they're going to have more than that. Crunch some numbers here. I'm like, dude, I don't know. And also, they're not going to be, I would think, on the field as much this year as they were last year, because they're going to be better, I think, defensively all around. So maybe they're not just going to get their ass kicked deep all the time. Prater, 36 sacks last year. I'm going to say it's under this year, unless one of those guys I mentioned is going to go from like 0 sacks. Like Scott Matlock as a D tackle, not an end.
Yep.
Had like an 8, 9, 10 sack season.
Yep.
That's more than this entire unit last year. 4.5 sacks from your entire interior defensive lineman. Probably not enough. I'm taking less than 36 sacks, which leads me to ask you this question on our negative bold prediction. Call 208-424-9300. Let's get yours in here. Is the interior of this football team, is that cause for concern? Is that an issue? Is that a one bold prediction that maybe right up there up front, they're not going to be as tough, as good?
Sounds like you and I think that. I
Yeah.
mean, if you connect the dots, I just went with the offensive line and you went with the defensive line. And let's be perfectly clear. Neither one of us think that they're going to be bad. I just don't know if the offensive line is going to live up to the reputation. That's a beautiful presentation on the sacks. 36 isn't a terrible number. 3 a game's not bad. You know, that's pretty decent, if not better than pretty decent.
Yeah.
If you're getting 3. And I remember just thinking about Boise State didn't get enough production when it came to the sacks because they kind of came in consistently. They kind of came in chunks, and 20 of them were from Ahmed and Simpson. And that'd be okay if it happened again this year, and maybe Simpson drops down. But I do think the trenches, and you know, we just repeat what coaches say. Football teams are made, won, and lost in the trenches. And if we're connecting the dots, if the offensive line underperforms a little bit, if the defensive line underperforms a little bit, and Boise State struggles a little bit in the trenches, I don't know what the impact of that could be. A loss here, a tight game here, a tight game there. I'm not sure, but ball game is certainly something that I feel like you and I have to keep an eye on the trenches on both sides of the ball this year.
Yep. Pass rush for me, interior pass rush, and they're going to need, Simpson and Ahmed to be double-digit sack guys that they're going to hope to get over 36 sacks this year. We'll see, but that's it for me. One bold prediction, call 208-424-9300. This is where we keep track of yours. And Prater, we have a positive bold prediction too. Right? It's not all on the negative. I can't wait to get to my positive one as well. What is yours? One bold prediction for Boise State football in 2024. You ready to rock and roll on this, Prater?
Let's take a break and do it.
Call 208-424-9300. One bold prediction, Boise State football, Prater in the ball game.
From the Beacon Plumbing Traffic Studios, this is Ticket Traffic.